the Hiking Stitcher, and welcome to my new floss tube setup. So today is June 2nd, 2025, and I believe this is floss tube 14, 15? I never keep track of these things. I don't know why. But anyhow, if you are new here, welcome to my corner of the world where I talk about all of my wonderful cross-stitch pieces and life and hiking and everything else. If you are returning, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. Anyhow, so let's talk about May, shall we? May was a very busy month stitching wise, but it was a good thing. So I had gotten back from dealing with some family issues up in New York. For more info on that, see my last April update. But Maynia took over May for me. So this is the second year I participated in Stitch Maynia, and my goal was to have at least 15 new starts. So the way that I went into this was I looked at my Maynia pieces from last year and I said, I want to make sure that those get pulled out and touched because some of them have not been touched since I started them in May of 2024. So I wanted to make sure I had them. And then I also had a big pile of stuff that was kitted up, ready to go. And I got through some of it, not all of it, but that's okay. On top of that, I also had just the regular rotation of whips that I always try to have. And so this month, I really didn't have any goals in mind other than just to touch everything that was called for either in Maynia or on my whip go board. And it just was such a stress-free time. The only thing that I kind of have a goal for is steampunk, and that's because my goal is to finish it by December 29th. So, let me kind of jump into it. I have some haul. I have a bow over here on the couch. Hanging out. Hi, Bo. So I have a little bit of haul due to the generosity of my stitching group. And then I want to jump into my whips, my 2024 Maynia progress, and my new starts for 2025. I did not have any finishes, but that's okay. Maynia is all about the starts. So let me jump into the haul first because I have it right here in front of me. So probably about a few days after I'd gotten home from New York, my stitchy friends and we meet up once a month at Old House Winery, not too far from my house. And so we have, so many amazing floss tubers and Instagram people, and new people show up all the time. So in this group, we include Jessie Marie Does Stuff, the Whip Go Lady, as I like to joke and call her, the Pop-Up Stitcher, Shenandoah Valley Stitcher, Robin in Virginia, I think I said Shenandoah Valley Stitcher, Betslina Stitches, CJ the Griffin Stitcher, Mary Grace Stitches. It just seems like we always have... Sorry about that. My friend Lisa walked by and she didn't want to be in the YouTube video. So anyhow, so as I was saying, the Old House Stitching group includes a whole bunch of us that live in the northern central Virginia area. So if you want to join us, let me know. Our next meeting is on June 29th. So we just sit and stitch and have a good time. But anyhow, so when I was there last time, one of the ladies brought some of her stash that she was cleaning out and passed it around and said, hey, anybody want this? So I picked up Fish and Ships from Long Dog Samplers. And I said, I would love to give this a shot. I got, you've got the whale and you've got the ship. Very, very nautical theme. I absolutely love this piece. So this is going to be something that will go into my would like to kit up in the next couple of years pile. So this was, I forget who was giving this away right now, but now I have it. So that's my one piece of pattern haul. And then my friend Jessie Marie was cleaning out some project bags and brought some project bags, said, anybody want any? And I said, absolutely. So both of them are Harry Potter themed. So this one is from So Much to Love on Etsy. And so it's got the Harry Potter potions, it's got the mandrakes, and then on the inside, it's got some more Harry Potter themed stuff. So she gave me this one. And this huge one. And she told me who made this. I don't remember. So Jessie, if you see this, could you drop in the comments below who is the designer of this one? But this is the Marauders map from Harry Potter. And this is an absolutely huge bag. So actually, one of my Heaven and Earth designs is a map. And so it's going to go in here. But Jessie was cleaning out and said, anybody want these? And I said, absolutely. Because my thing with Harry Potter, I know everybody has their own take on how to handle the J.K. Rowling being a jerk situation. So each person decides for themselves what their comfort level is going to be as far as supporting her. So what I have come to my personal decision is I am done shelling out money for licensed stuff. So I have a lot of licensed stuff because I bought it. I've been a Harry Potter fan for 20 years. But as of this moment, or as of now, I am not going to be spending any more money on things that she could get a dime from. So that means no Universal theme parks. That means none of the Harry Potter stores, none of the Harry Potter experiences. But I still, if I already have this stuff, I've already paid for it. Getting rid of it's not going to do any good. So I am going to hang on to it. But going forward, I am only going to support local independent artists celebrating the fandom, if that makes sense. So I still have Harry Potter cross-stitch patterns I'm working on. I do the Frogwarts Retreat for the Black Beetle Society of Year, and I'm going to continue to do those because they support the fandom and support artists who are creating something in the fandom, but not licensed material. So that's anyhow, that's my little tangent on that. So anyhow, so I got the 2 project bags from Jessie and Fish and Chips. So there's my haul for the month of May. Which was good because, I kind of need to reset my budget a little bit. All right, so let's go into whips, shall we? I'm going to go kind of in order. I'm going to go with the whips that I've worked on that were not 2024 starts. And then I'm going to go down the line into stuff that was 2024 starts and then finish off with my Maynia starts. Excuse me. So overall in the month of May, I worked on 27 different projects. And that's a lot for me. Usually I'm like 10, maybe 12 a month. So Maynia always gets me a lot of stuff going in. So I am just going to jump into it. So first things that you're going to get to see, because they're on top, are the Heaven and Earth design pieces. I know I should have saved this one because I know this is everybody's favorite that I've heard from. But this is NOLA. So So this is where I'm up to on NOLA from Heaven and Earth Designs. And so in the month of May, I came back down and I brought down this row. So this was kind of a page finish. I had like 2 page finishes. And, oh, here's the lighting. Oh, I love this. Every time I try a new setup, I always got to figure out something different here. But, so, here is NOLA. So there's a close-up of where I'd finished. And I think this is the Heaven and Earth piece that if I could stitch monogamously on it, I would be doing so all the time. So I was able to put in, gosh, over 5,000 stitches this month on this. So that makes me super happy. So I'm working my way back across the top and then it'll go down, down, down to all this. So I'm barely 20% done, barely. So, but this was NOLA, and the artist on this one is Mandy Manzano Art, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And by the way, thank you to my husband for the foam board, so now I actually can hold my stuff up properly. All right, so going down, the next thing on top of the pile is my Heaven and Earth Design Stitch-Along. So this is one that this is the only one that I have a goal on. So the goal with this one is to finish, I've set my target finish date is December 29th. So that gives me a day or so wiggle room. But with the Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along this year is you had something like 9 patterns to pick from. You picked one, and then they send you like 3 pages every 3 months. And then the idea is if you can finish 6 pages in a year, you'll get all of the Heaven and Earth, all the SAL pieces that were available. And then if you finish the entire piece by the end of the year, then you not only get all of the SAL pieces, but you get to pick one pattern from the website for free. So that's what I'm aiming for. So the pattern I chose was Steampunk Portal. And so here is where I've gotten on it. Let me set that up here. So there you go. There is Steampunk Portal. So in April, I fell behind because the idea was that I wanted to finish a page in April, then finish a page in May, and then June. So that way I'd be caught up before the next row is released in July. However, with all the things I had going on with my family in April, that did not work out. So I was able to catch back up here a little bit. So somewhere in here, I'm going to get to the center, I think, of the portal. But I absolutely am loving this so much. And so that one is going to be continuing on in June. I figured out if I can do about 230 stitches a day on average, then I will have the entire piece finished by the end of December, which is a heck of a lot better than trying to do 450 stitches to have the first that row done before the end of June. So next release on this is July 1st. So my goal for is to get somewhere over here by the time the end of June rolls around. So that is Steampunk Portal, and I have no idea who the artist is, to be honest. It's Heaven and Earth Design piece. But that's the stitch along. And then continuing, so my other Haid for the month is Massive. So this was my supersized max color piece, and I worked on this in April and in May, and of course did not get nearly as far as I wanted. But let me tell you, this is where I got to on Amy Stewart's A Stitch in Time, supersized max color. So I, at the end of the year last year, I finished up over here. And so I said, I kind of want to move down. So this is what I got done over here between April and May. Not a whole heck of a lot, but that part was very, very confetti heavy. So I want to say that between April and May, I maybe got 3,000 stitches done. And so like this is my lifetime stitch pretty much. This is like, I am not setting any sort of goals as to when I have it finished. This is the process part. And one of the things that I did, and I'm still in the process of trying to figure this out, was I actually bought the supersized max color version of a stitching shelf during one of the last Haid sales. So I'm trying to figure out how this could get converted over to a stitching shelf, because I'm already working on a Stitch in Time. And there's some pieces of it that are just not charted quite the same, different colors, things like that. So I may just end up sticking with this as a Stitch in Time. But I now have a supersized max color version of a stitching shelf just because. So this is A Stitch in Time from Amy Stewart. That one, I got a whopping 1,293 stitches in May. And I don't even think I got 1,000 stitches in April on that. So there you go. So those were all the full coverage Haids I worked on. Usually I save those for last, but today you get them first. So then another piece I worked on was a Whip Go Call, and this was a stitch along that I had started 2 years ago. So Black Middle Society started doing a fundraiser for Laura's school, And so if you donated to their wish list at the beginning of the school year, you got the pattern, and it was released in stitch along style. So the first ever one was a schoolhouse rock pattern. And I started it with everybody, and then it just fell off. So it came up for WIPGO this month. So I was able to put in about 550 stitches in on it, which is huge for me. So here is, let me fix it up here. Started from the bottom. So here is where I'm at. So part 1, I had all of the numbers done a while ago. So the big thing that I did was I finished off the boat, and I started the outline of the school. So this, wish I could tell you who the fabric dyer is, but this is I believe 32 count linen. It was the called for. And it is going to be gorgeous when it's done, whenever it gets done. So I was just, at this point, I was just happy to be able to touch it. And so I didn't quite meet the original WIPGO goal I had on that, which was about 700 stitches or so. But I said, the fact that I could get 500 stitches in on it in the month made me happy. Any stitches progress is kind of like one of my new mottos there. And so then the next piece, another piece I worked on, it's kind of, I've fallen off the train on this one a little bit. So this is 324, the sequel from Works by ABC. And let me figure out, okay, this is how it goes. All right, so I'll show you. I did not get a lot done on this because I paused it for Maynia, but I also am behind that. So that's as far as I'm at right now. So June is going to be a big catch-up month because these really don't take all that long to do. So let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see. I'd gotten this row done, worked that way down, and then I paused it because of just time and just focusing on Maynia. So this is part of a stitch along that I was doing with Stitch by Liz, Miss Chloe, I think Mel, a girl of pages and threads, a couple other of my Australia friends. We all started this on January 1st. And I think we've all fallen behind on it, and that's okay. Life happens. So I'm just trying not to beat myself up on it. So I'm really, I will be very happy in June to get caught up. And so we'll see if I can get caught back up. I need to have like 170 motifs in by the end of June. I don't even know where I'm at right now. So we'll see. So probably just doing a couple motifs a day, or at least trying to, and getting there. So, but that's 324, the sequel. And where is 324, the regular, you might ask? That was a Maynia start in 2024. So that's coming up later in the video. Because normally I show those two together, but since I started 324 as part of Maynia last year, I'm going to show it with my Maynia 2024 whips. All right, so going on through. The last regular whip that was not part of any sort of Maynia was my Society Stitcher snail. And I said putting it up on the white, I think it helps seize a little bit more. This is one that I know Laura and Keisha, the Pattern Queens, are doing this piece as a 25/7, which means they're just doing 25 stitches a day on this. And they started January 1st. I started mine a little bit later on, and I was doing a strand a day. But again, as with everything else, life got in the way. So I'm just happy that I was able to finish the teacup, or the outline of the teacup, so I was able to cross that color off. I modified the date, so I did a little pattern change there. And I'm working on filling this in. So this is an easy one where if I just have a few minutes and I've got nothing else going on, I just gotta like sit and wait for something, just work on this. So the goal is to get back to this, to do a strand a day, and then be caught up to finish this sometime in July. That's the hope. We'll see what the reality is. I really would actually do like to get this finished by Camp Black Needle though. So I would like to be able to finish this with Laura and Keisha at camp this year. So there is my goal, is to have this done by the end of July, if nothing else. So that's going to be a focus piece for June. So those were the regular whips that just got pulled or just got called in my normal everyday order of stuff. So the next pile of whips, all of these were started last May for Maynia. So that last year was my first year doing Maynia. And so I went through and I said, what are my projects that I've started that I haven't worked on? So I pulled them all out except for my big Heaven and Earth that I started last May. I'm like, I'm not gonna try to cram a fourth Heaven and Earth into this month's rotation. But what I did do was I just looked at my list from Maynia last year and I pulled out everything that did not get finished at some point. And I said, in a perfect world, I want to put at least 100 stitches in, each one of them. Some got more than 100 stitches, but they all got about 100 stitches. So these, I've put these on a wheel. So I'm hoping that throughout the year, they'll come up a little bit more often, just because you just don't want things languishing too long. So let's jump into it. Let's start with 324 actually. I said this one, I literally worked on one day and I got one motif done in May this month. A far cry from the motif a day I had been doing this year, but here's where I'm at. I have now officially hit 50% on this. So yeah, so with any luck, this will be done by next May. Again, hopefully sooner, but this is the center part right here. So I got this extra little motif done. So I am now halfway done with 324. And it is a great way to check and see what colors I have, where are they. And so far I've actually not had to go to Michael's because now you can't go to Joann's anymore, but I haven't had to go digging for threads that I don't have someplace in my stash. So that's gonna come back out in June, because once again with 324 and 324 the sequel, my goal is to at least try to get a couple motifs in as much as I can every day, just to try to catch back up. I don't have a date. I have a finish date that was in mind. I believe it's sometime in November, so we'll see if we can make the finish date for both of them. So then the next piece that worked on, this was a Whip Go Call, and it was a piece that I started last year. This is Camper Sampler from Silver Creek Samplers. This was one of her Nashville releases last year. And it lives in this beautiful project bag that I got from a Black Needle Society box from the 805 Stitcher. And so my goal with this one, with my Whip Go Call, was to get up to 50% done on it. And I succeeded. So that made me super, super happy. But here is where I'm at. I am ready to start the words. I have the campfire all done. That was the biggest thing that I got done and filled in, was the campfire this month. The moon and the stars, those are all glow in the dark DMC. And so then just work its way down, and so all the words. So this is 50% completed now. Yay! So this is one that is going to start becoming like one of my focus on a finish or whip down pieces, because we're getting close to only 2,000 stitches left on it. So that is Camper Sampler. All right, keep digging. I had so much. All right. So then this next one lives in just this very nondescript project bag from Amazon. I don't know why I didn't take it out before, but this is a snowflake, Quaker style from Oratim. This was in a Black Needle Society Christmas in July box 3 or 4 years ago. And so I started this last May, and I am stitching this on Christmas night fabric from Atomic Ranch Designs using white A12 for this. And I am I'm finally getting the hang of how this is looking out. So there is where I'm at. This month I don't even know if I'm holding this up right. I think I am, but I was able to kind of get up to the top and get this little guy done. So I am definitely now at more than 25% of the way done on this. And so this is on rotation to show up in December for my Christmas stitching. And I believe this is also on my WIPGO board that has not been called yet. So this should see a little bit more love this year, with the goal of having it finished before May of next year. See, that's the goal with most of these Maynia pieces that from 2024, is that I'd like to see them finished by, that can maybe like finished Maynia next year. So there is my Quaker snowflake. And I love how the white's making it, my white foam board is finally making it look good. So there's that. Stick that back in the bag. All right. And then next piece is a pattern that I like to call Live Simply. And this was a kit from Joann's, God knows how long ago. But this is where I'm at. So in the month of May, I got enough in to really just kind of work a little bit more on the grain border. This is one that this is on my whip down board. So this has under 2,000 stitches left on it. So as I start pulling those for whip down, I'm just kind of going with that. So hoping that this sees a finish by the end of this year, but definitely I don't want this lingering into next May. Because once I sit down and work on it, this is actually a pretty quick stitch. I hate only getting like 100 or 200 stitches in on a time on it. But so at some point, I'm literally just going to sit down and buckle down, because then I'll finish the vines, and it just has a lot of these hearts and flowers. And then there's a heart here that comes up around. So this is what I like to call Live Simply. And I think it wasn't a dimensions kit. If I can figure it out, I'll put the details below. But that's Live Simply. And then I worked on the Grand Teton sampler from, I believe it's Posy Low, but she, so a lot of times if you go to a national park site and look in the gift shop, and if there's a cross stitch piece related to it, or at a historical site in a gift shop and you see like a cross stitch kit, it's usually the Posy Low collection, I think. So I've taken to, any time I see something like that at a national park site, I pick up one. So last year I started the Grand Teton sampler from when I went to the Tetons. And so this May, this is where I got to. I'd finished the Buffalo earlier this year, so I was just very happy that I could start this border, because I want to get the border done, because then there's a moose on this side and a deer on this side. And so this has more stitches to it than I thought it did when I bought it. But it's also a fairly fast stitch. There's the lighting, the better way. Trying to figure out the lighting situation, so please give your constructive criticism in the comments below as far as lighting. I mean, that is the Grand Teton sampler. All right, I got one, I believe I have three more whips from 2024 that I started. So let's get on with it, shall we? And this is where I got on Hello Summer from Peppermint Purple. Peppermint Purple, for those of you who don't know, specializes in blackwork designs. So this is where I got a lot of work done on this last year. So this year I pretty much was able to, see if you can see in there to start it. I got some more of the sun started, and I started some of the sun in there. But the big thing is this May I got the bee done. So got my little bee. This stitches up super, super quickly. So again, it's one of those, if I can just sit down and just be monogamous for a week or so, I probably could get that mostly done. But monogamy and I in stitching do not always get along anymore. So hopefully that'll be a finish next year, because then I have the Hello Autumn wreath waiting in my collection. But I said I'm not going to start that one until I finish that one. So my final 2024 Maynia start lives in this project bag from Linex Stitches Creates. And this piece is actually really special to me for many reasons. So this is Café du Monde, and it's an ornament. It was designed as a needlepoint ornament by a dear friend of mine named Gussie. And she designed this as a needlepoint, and then accents and stitches in Kenner, Louisiana, recharted it for cross stitch. So when I saw it and I knew exactly who the designer was, I said, I have to start it. And so Gussie now lives in Virginia, actually. So she came to our old house thing. So I said, okay, anytime I'm going to see Gussie, I want to work on it. So here is where I got on this month. So I was able to take the black iron work across, and I'm working on the like the columns here. So this is, again, there's more stitches to this than I thought there would be. But when I do get a chance to stitch on it, I can knock out 100 stitches like that. So that is Cafe du Monde. So see, that's what it's gonna look like when it's done. And my last 2024 piece, actually I had to restart it towards the end of last year. So there isn't much to see. So this is Ruskin's Penguins from Modern Folk Embroidery. And this one, I started it on blue fabric. Did not like the way the white, because it's all black and white. So I didn't like the way that it looked. So I restarted it and was able to get all of the bottom row done. So this was not all stitches made, but I think I started from like here. So I got from about here all the way over. So this is as wide as it's going to be. So then that made me feel a lot better knowing at least I got something done. So that's not much of a start, but it'll go up and around, and eventually I'll get into the penguins. So right now this one's not very exciting. Not very exciting at all, but it will be. So, but I vowed myself I was going to get stitches in on it, and I did. So now my 2025 Maynia pieces. Just so you know, I did hit my goal of 15 new starts. I did kind of fudge a little bit, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So I worked on, I believe it's 12 projects for 15 starts. And the way I tend to do that is I count like a new section of a cell as a new start. So, for example, I'm working on the Extraordinary Bird cell, and there were 3 feats that were released in the month of May, and so I got them all started. So you'll see that. And I'm also working on Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and I started a new square. So even though it's not a brand new piece that I started, I still counted that as my new starts. So let me just kind of start going down the list here and show you what we got. So the first piece lives in this amazing Ruth Bader Ginsburg project bag from Linux Stitches Creates. She did this. This was a very limited run. So I don't think you can get these anymore. But in there lives Disagree from Rebel Stitcher Designs. This was a Nashville market release this year, and it absolutely spoke to me on so many levels. And so this was one I definitely wanted to get started. There is a group on Facebook of stitchers who are stitching this. So there is a Rebel Stitchers Design sale group on Facebook. So if you find it, you might be able to join it. I didn't get a chance to get the whole thing finished, obviously, but I was just happy to get it started. So I bought the fabric for it at Steel City. And then I went and, just spent probably 2 hours at my local needlepoint store, Artful Stitches in Virginia, to just try to find the right colors I wanted. So what I ended up with was this color from Threadworks. Let me see, I'm holding it up with that so you can see it. It's got the blues and the purples. And then I was able to find both a blue and a purple anchor for the words. So the Threadworks thread will be for all the Quaker motifs, and then once I get that in, I'll decide whether or not, like, how I want to do the words. So this one got 299 stitches in because it just did. So it's not much of a start. Be helpful if I was holding it right side up, you know? Yeah, it would help. So here is the upper left-hand corner. And I can't tell you how much I love these colors. I don't even know how much this is popping with the lighting. try it that way. Still not that great. I'm going to be fixing my lighting situation for the next floss tube. But yeah, so let me hold it that way. There we go. So there is my new start on Disagree. And this is one that I'm sad to put away for a little bit, but I do need to give some love to my older projects. However, this one will come out on Juneteenth. And anytime that I'm doing any sort of volunteer work at the local Democrats office where I just have time to sit and do whatever, this is going to be what comes with me. So that was Disagree from Rebel Stitcher Designs. That was new start number 1. New start number 2 was inspired from Jessie Marie because she was stitching this. I saw it, I just had to have it. My friend Krista, the Shenandoah Valley Stitcher, saw me say that I bought it and she had to go buy it. So the 3 of us are now working on it and we're joking that we're going to call it the Blue Ridge Sal. So this is Blue Ridge. And what other art? Did I write down the art? I did not write down any of the info on this. So again, I'll try to pop it in the either on the video or in the comments below. So this is, I'm stitching this, I believe it's 28 count. 2/1 half stitch, tent stitch. So that's not much, but I was able to, this is the, actually the heck with this. I don't think I need that for all of these. So here is where I'm at. There's some light. I started doing this 2/1 full cross like I usually do my full coverages, but then I realized this was not 25 count. So I restarted it and I'm liking the tent stitch. This is one that I will probably keep in my bag, and every time I go to the old house stitching group, I'm going to put in a few stitches on this because we all live in the Blue Ridge of Virginia. So when I saw that Jessie had bought this and started it, I said, okay, I have to have this. And then Krista had to get it, and I believe we've all started it now, or plan to start it very soon. So if you would like to join us on this, just it's hashtag Blue Ridge Sal. The problem with some of these Maynia starts is I don't want to keep going on them, but alas, as you can see, I had a lot to do. So that one got 200 stitches in, because my goal with my new starts is to try to get 200 stitches in a month on it. So then the next one I started lives in this envelope. Why is it in this envelope, you ask? Well, this is the snail mail subscription from the Black Needle Society. And so every couple of months, we get a new snail pattern and we get the flosses to go with it. So this was the first one that was released, and it's called All Bundled Up. So let me see if I actually have the, do I have the picture in here of what it looks like? Nope. So it comes with a QR code to download the pattern, and then it comes with your hanks of floss. So these are super, super quick to stitch up. So I got a whopping 261 stitches in, and I have most of the snails back done already. So there is my start on that. So this is going to be an easy stitch. These, the Black Needle Society snails are usually my go-to projects for a long car ride, because I can literally start and finish them in the same trip. So I'm looking forward to pulling that one out and starting the next one that came in the series, which was going to be one of my other Maynia starts. I just lost time. You know, if I just had another day. So then moving on down the list, the next one I started was American Flag. I bought this at StitchCon last year, and I kitted it up at StitchCon last year. So this has been waiting to be started for about a year now. And so this is my first time stitching on 40 count linen. And I'm using the called for dinky dies. So right now I only have the black one, the blue on the floss drops right now. So there's what the blue looks like. So here's the blue, and then here's the red. So that's gonna be the colors. And I quickly discovered that I absolutely adore 40 count for certain things. This was This will be my first piece on 40 count, but it will not be my last. I can tell you that right now. So I was able to get 219 stitches in on that. So there is my start on the flag. So this is actually mostly all the way down, so it's not going to be very big. See, that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm down to this part already. So this is going to get brought out somewhere the weekend of June 14th because it's Flag Day. And then it is going to go into a normal rotation of just summary projects or whenever something that's called for a flag or patriotic. So absolutely can't wait to keep working on this. And then I had a restart actually. So this piece, this is Wander from the Black Needle Society. And this actually was my birthday start last year. And I got maybe 100 stitches in on it and realized I did not have the right size fabric. I was pretty pissed at myself because I had gotten at least 150 stitches in. Then I realized the piece of fabric that I had, I'd stolen some of it for another project and I didn't leave myself enough to work on this. So I went ahead and I ordered more fabric. So this is the called for fabric, I believe. Let me tell you what it is because I know it's the called for. This is Lagoon from Fiber on a Whim. So I was able to get this. So there's where I'm at. So I'm using the called for Forbidden Fiber Co. flosses. And we'll try this again. All right, trying this out. I adjusted some lighting here, so we'll see. All right, so I finished off, that was Wander. So then the next one I started was a kit that I grabbed at Hobby Lobby, and these are fast stitches. This is All You Need Is Love. Of course, that's the problem now with that light. All You Need Is Love and Coffee. I've done several of these chalkboard type stitches before, and these really do stitch up quickly. So this is where I got to. So I have love. So that was 200 stitches right there, including the back stitching, because I count back stitching towards my stitching total. So this is again going to be another one to quickly throw in the car as a travel piece. And this will end up on a wheel spin at some point because I've set up some wheel spins to try to make sure that I keep touching all my whips. So, so then the next piece, so I worked on this on the 13th and on the 25th because this is Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. So I had already finished block 1, so I started block 2. So I'm calling block 2 my new start this month. And I always stitch on this on usually like the 13th, the 12th or 13th, and then again on the 25th. So overall, now again, of course, I fold it up and try to find where it is because the whole piece is going to be huge when it's done. But here is where I got to. So I didn't quite hit my goal of getting 25% of the square done, but that house is going to be major. So I got the peacock done and I started the house. So I've got the chimneys and I've started the little gate. So in June, this will get more and maybe I'll get to 50% this month. Maybe. The goal is to try to stitch 25% of a square every month. Then in a perfect world, this will be finished 4 years from the day I started it. I'm already behind on that because I didn't touch this at all in the month of April. So I'm already a month behind, but that's okay. Every stitch is progress. So I got Hawk Run Hollow done. Wow, I got a lot. I'm sitting here going, oh, this is one of the longer floss tubes I've ever done. And I'm starting to get, not tired, but going, dang, do I still have more? I still have more. Dang, I almost feel like I'm filming a whip parade. Almost. So then another new start was English Tier from Erin Elizabeth Designs. This was a piece I picked up at Steel City this year. This was a freebie giveaway from somebody, and I probably would have shoved somebody over to get this, I'll be honest, because this is one of my unicorn pieces I've been looking for. So I'm glad I did not have to, injure anybody. I did not have to push anybody over. And it was all fine and dandy. So this is what it's gonna look like. And this is where I started. This one got the fewest amount of stitches in on this, so this is like about 100 stitches. But this is gonna be on Vintage Country Mocha. So I actually get to start my Vintage Country Mocha journey with the little guard. And this, when I charted this into Pattern Keeper, this is barely 2,000 stitches. So I actually was pleasantly surprised at just how small these are. So these, any of her tiers are gonna be quick stitches, like literally a weekend. So this will go into a rotation, and I'm hoping to take this with me when I go back to England in December. Just because why not? Stitch on it in England. So, I keep going, make sure I'm putting my stuff where it belongs. And then the last few, or I should say, not all of these. So I'm gonna, after the one I'm about to show you, the rest were not originally planned to be Maynia starts, but it just happened that way. So, but before I show you that, this was one of my planned starts. This is Begin by Bent Creek. And this project is very special to me. So a dear friend of mine, Sue, who is on Instagram, she's not on FlossTube, but she's on Instagram. She saw this pattern sometime last summer, and it immediately made her think of me. So she went out, and not only did she buy the pattern, but she kitted it up for me and everything, and then surprised me with it when I met her for the first time in person at Camp Black Needle. So I have just been itching for a chance to get this started. So I finally was able to do that. So this is kitted with all of the called for colors. Combination of Fancy Floss and DMC. And here's where I'm at. I was able to, so not much of a start, but I have the tree, and I have some of the kind of the ground. So this will be one that definitely is going to go to camp with me to work on, and definitely is going to get a lot more love on it. So this is, again, this was Begin from Bent Creek. Like I said, yep, these last three were ones that when I made my Maynia plans out towards the end of April, I had listed out all the things I had kitted up, all the things I wanted to stitch. And these three were not originally on there. But when I started to go through some stuff and realized I literally had all this stuff to kit them up. And I actually wanted to stitch these more than I wanted to stitch some of the ones that I'd already had pulled. So I said, well, you know what? Stitch your own stitch. Change of plans. So I worked on these three instead. So the first one is Grandma's Lilacs from Carolyn Manning Designs. And this is one that I had in my stash for a long time. And then I finally realized, I'm like, wait, I have everything for it. Why not start it? So this pattern really brings me back to my childhood. So my mom had a lilac tree in her house. Okay, that's a better lighting. So my mother had a lilac tree, a purple one, and my grandmother had a white lilac tree. So these were things that just reminded me so much of my childhood. And so I said, well, definitely want to get this started. So I started this on a Monday for Manning Monday. And so I'm probably not going to consistently do Manning Monday this year, just because I've got so much else on my plate. But if that's something I get into next year, this is going to get a lot more work on it. so here is my new start. So that's where I got on it. There's the lighting on it to make it a little bit easier to see. So I'm really loving the square approach, just kind of stitch square by square by square. So I was able to get these first 3 squares in. And I'm probably gonna work kind of diagonal because that's just the way you know how a pattern just seems to have a flow to it. Each pattern, you know, sometimes it's like you wanna stitch it up, you know, you wanna go up, go down. This one, when I started stitching it, my mind immediately just started going diagonal. So I'm probably going to do, you know, continue in that method until the pattern changes its mind and says, nope, I want you to go this way, or I want you to go that way. But I mean, it's so easy to see the diagonals in the pattern. So that's kind of how I'm gonna roll it. So that was Grandma's Lilacs. And if these don't have pretty project bags because Ziploc bags work. And then for this one, I bought the fabric for this piece at Steel City from Grace Notes. It's a Grace Notes fabric. And I had kind of chucked it in there and started to kind of just pull threads and then I'm like, wait a second, why the heck am I not starting this? No, I don't want to start it. It's too big. I've got way too many big things. And then just something inside me just kept saying, start it. So I did. So this is Mario Through the Ages. And this is on 36 count robin's egg linen. So that is as far as I've gotten. This is going to be where it just says the word Mario. This is going to be a long project. And a lot of people I know are working on this once in a while. So this will get pulled out on things like Video Game Day on March 10th for Mario. And will eventually become part of a regular rotation sometime next year. But I'm still happy that I got it started. So Mario Through the Ages. And then my final piece, just want to make sure I got nothing else in there. My final piece was a pattern I had bought last month at Steel City Stitchers. And I was like, it's a small one, easy to kit up. Less than, when I charted it from the paper pattern I bought into Pattern Keeper, it's less than 2,000 stitches. So again, this will be a super fast stitch for me. So this is from Stitchy Pros. And this is Unbearable. If unbearable, go to the woods. So this absolutely matches me. And I actually have a couple friends in mind that may be the wonderful recipients of this gift after I finish stitching it, because when we don't get time out in nature, some of us get grumpy. So that's, this made me think of not only hiking, but just my tramily. Tramily is a portmanteau of trail and family. It's your trail family. So a lot of us can relate to this. So this one got a start like the last week of May. And again, this was one that was not part of the original plan, but it quickly, I realized I'd rather stitch this than some of the other ones I had planned. So I got 230 stitches in. I already got the first part of the words in. Super fast. So, looking around, make sure I didn't forget anything this time. So that was it for May. So I said 27 projects, 15 new starts. Oh my gosh, I forgot to show you my extraordinary bird cell. Hold please. Boo, I'm back. It's a good thing I double checked my list, because I've been talking about the extraordinary bird cell and I would be ashamed to forget to show you. So anyhow, I am working on the Lola Crow cell, and it lives in this kitty cat project bag made by my friend Virginia, who also goes to our old house stitching group. She does not have an Etsy shop. She just makes these and then just brings them and says, hey, I've got some extra bags. So she gave me this at Steel City. And I'm like, well, cats love birds. And so this, I guess you could say, is the closest thing I have to a finish. This is a finished for now because I am completely caught up. We'll see how long that lasts on the Lola Crow Extraordinary Bird Sale. So let me hold it and pull it on here so I can hold the whole thing up here. Fixing a set. Every time I try something new. So there's where I'm at. So there were 3 feats that were released in the month of May. So the first one involved the little spoonbill. Second one involved the blue-footed booby. And then the third one involved all these like cute but deadly birds. Like all these, they look so cute, but they're really poisonous. So over here this way, you can see it a little bit better. So this one, really? I have mad respect for those of you who film floss tubes like all the time and they look so dang perfect. You just get this. A bonus is that I got this blue-footed booby needle minder from Mainly X Stitch. Let me take it off here. She had some and I was able to grab one, and she, this is actually, there we go. There he is. This was actually kind of a leather cutout from somebody else that all she did, hand-drawn, hand-painted cutout from a different artist who I saw was going to be at the Virginia Renaissance Festival. So I'm going to have to go meet her next week. But so Mainly X Stitch on Etsy and on Instagram had the blue-footed booby. So had to get that. So these were my last 3 new starts. Because I did feet 1, feet 2, and feet 3. So feet 4, I think, is going to be somewhere over here. So these come out on Friday, and they are about less than 1,000 stitches, give or take. So I've been able to keep up with it so far. Let's hope that holds. So that was my finish for now. So set that down. Now I think I've gone over everything. So what else has been happening in life? Really just getting settled back in, to be honest. I did not go hiking really much in the month of May. I did get to go out and maintain my trail and had 3 massive blowdowns on the Appalachian Trail. It's just sad that I'm the hiking stitcher and getting hikes in has just not been happening lately because I have been busy doing other volunteer work. So, hoping to get at least a couple hikes in June. What else has been going on? Oh, I worked with a lady in my citizenship class, and she passed her citizenship exam, and I got to watch her take the oath of allegiance and officially become a U.S. citizen on Saturday. So that really made me feel good. That has become one of the most rewarding volunteer activities I've gotten involved in. So if you have a local council or citizenship, or your local place has a place where you can help those who are trying to take classes to become citizens, do it. Absolutely worth it. Other than that, I said just between volunteering and stitching, May has just been busy. June is also getting into the summer. I am not going to StitchCon this year. And that makes me really sad, but it just wasn't financially in the cards this year. But I want to wish all of my friends that I met last year a wonderful StitchCon, and I'm going to be stitching Beach Rat for the Beach Rat sale in solidarity. As everybody else is finishing theirs up, I'm not going to finish mine, but I will be stitching on it. Also coming up in June is my 1-year floss tube anniversary. God, I can't believe it's been a year. And so I have a surprise release already set. I have my little floss tube audition video that my friend and I did almost as a joke. I'm going to release that and maybe do a giveaway. So be on the lookout for those. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the giveaway yet, but I am going to celebrate my 1-year floss tube anniversary sometime this June. Other than that, just busy. Busy, lots of stitching. I do not plan on any new starts in June until the last week in June, which is when we get the new Frogwarts piece for year 6. So I will be starting that when I get the piece, which should be sometime at the end of June. So coming up, you'll see a FlossTube Extra, the FlossTube Versary surprise. You'll see the Frogworts unboxing. And my June update will either be really early or really late because I am leaving to go on vacation on June 30th. And so I will be off the grid for a week and a half. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm busy. So anyhow, if you have not already and you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please help me appease the YouTube gods and the algorithm gods, because I am trying to increase my followers, because if I want to become a Black Needle Society rep, I need to have something like 1,000 followers, I think. And I'm not even close. So if you have not subscribed, please do so. Also follow me over on Instagram at walking_in_stitches. And until then, never let anybody else tell you what to do. Always. Just go ahead, stitch your own stitch. Have a great day, guys.